Now that ranked mode is officially out in the new season, we got a better idea of what the Pokemon TCG Pocket meta really is. And for the most part, we're seeing a lot of Solgaleo EX. And I mean, it makes sense. Usually the pack arts of the set or the very meta-defining cards to come out, except for Mew EX. Celebi was definitely the best card out of Mythical Island, at least at the time. But anyways, on that topic, what about Lunala? We're seeing a lot of the new cards getting played, except for Lunala. I don't think I've run into a player who had Lunala in their deck. At the time of this recording, at least, it doesn't seem that popular, so I wanted to try it out for myself. Now, on paper, Lunala actually seems like a really good card. Although its attack isn't that impressive, its ability is where it really shines. And that being said, if a card's ability is its main feature, it's not going to be like the main card of your deck. It's going to be your main supporter of the deck. So that's what we got to understand going into this first. Out the gate, I think a lot of you guys will agree with this as well. Lunala EX needs to be paired up with Giratina EX. It's a non-negotiable. Those cards were literally made for each other. Giratina energizes while Lunala can shift the energy around. It's just a match made in heaven. But what is the third card? Because we definitely are going to need a third card in this deck. It just can't be those two. I originally tried out Rayquaza EX from this new event because I mainly wanted to just try out my favorite legendary. And although that card is really cool and I can see it getting some real meta play once we figure it out, there was one main issue, and that is Oricorio. So I had to get a non-EX card up in this deck, and the one that I landed on was Regigigas. Regigigas is actually perfect for this deck because with all the other cards that I was testing out with it, you didn't really have like a main card that you wanted in your active spot primarily. And the fact is, the more damage done to Regigigas, the better. You're going to want to have your Cosmog or Lunala on your bench able to shift the energy around. And then of course, you're going to want to have your Giratina on the bench energizing itself. And then in perfect symmetry, you will have Regigigas at the front line taking damage to the face to do bigger damage back. So with that being said, let's get into the build of this deck. Okay, so to start things off with the Pokemon, you're going to want to have two of each in this deck. Minus Cosmoem. We don't need any Cosmoem. So you're going to want to have two Cosmog, two Lunala, two Giratina, and of course, two Regigigas. Now to start things off, Lunala EX, you're going to want to have it as a support card. Yes, there are times you might want to attack with it for 100 damage, but your main attackers are going to be Giratina and Regigigas. Its ability allows you to shift all psychic energy from one of your psychic Pokemon to your active Pokemon. And that energy needs to be attached to a psychic Pokemon, and all that energy needs to go to your active Pokemon. Your active Pokemon can be any type, and of course Regigigas works out perfectly for that. You just got to remember this: if you set up your Regigigas for whatever reason on your bench, you can't use Lunala EX to pull that energy out. Giratina EX, we've seen too much Giratina EX, but he's here again. And of course it has a really good passive energy ability to energize itself, which, you know, essentially will build up your Regigigas, thanks to Lunala, of course. And it deals some pretty big damage too, so that's always a plus. But the main event, the main curveball of this deck is Regigigas. Now for 4 energy, it does 50 damage plus the amount of damage done to Regigigas. And if you have a cape on it, it can do upwards 200 damage. A very popular deck out right now is Charizard EX from Shining Revelry. And if you have a giant cape on the Regigigas, it won't be able to knock it out. Your Regigigas will have 10 HP left, but it'll be able to one-shot that Charizard in your next turn, even if that Charizard has a giant cape on it. And the best part is Regigigas is a one prize card. So you can go through 2 cycles of Regigigas before you get to your EX cards in the active position. The perfect way to play all of these Pokemon together is to have Giratina on her bench energizing itself. You're going to want to have Lunala on her bench as well using its ability. And then you're going to want to have Regigigas in the active position getting damaged. Yes, you want your Pokemon to actually get damaged. And then, you know, when the time is right, you're going to want to shift all your energy from your Giratina to the Regigigas to deal heavy damage. There is a bit of a learning curve to that. You don't want to use Lunala's ability every single turn, just in case they knock out your Regigigas in one shot. I usually wait until my Giratina has 3 or 4 energy on it to move it to Regigigas, depending on how aggro I want to go. But now let's get into the trainer cards here. You're going to want to have 2 Pokeball and 1 Pokemon Communication to search for Pokemon. You also want to have 1 big Malasada, I think that's how you say it, because there are a lot of poison Pokemon out there. There's a lot of status baddest related Pokemon out there right now, and this just helps a lot, especially with your Regigigas. At the end of the day, this card just really helps you get out of those sticky situations. You're going to want to have 2 rare candy, self-explanatory. And for the Pokemon tools, you're going to want to have a 1 giant cape and a poison barb. And these tools are used for different situations. And you're just going to have to navigate if your card is going to be one-shotted or if you can put a giant cape on it. And of course, poison barb is really good against chip decks. Having it on your Regigigas in the active spot is a nightmare for the average Solgaleo user. So it really does help. Moving on to the supporters, we got 2 Professor's Research, a Leaf, and an Iono. Now, aside from the Leaf, all those cards are for draw, but the Leaf is just in case you start out with a Cosmog or a Giratina in your active position and you want to bring it back to your bench. It can also bring back your Regigigas if you really need to in niche situations. But I've done enough yapping about this deck. Let's move on to some ranked play. Here are the current points that I'm starting out with. Let's try to do better than that. All right, let's see it. Lunala EX. We haven't seen a lot of that. Okay, so we're going first here with this deck. It doesn't really matter if you go first or second. Maybe I'd prefer first if you're starting out with Giratina like we are. We're going to send in the Regigigas, and then we're going to have Giratina on the bench. This is a Charizard EX deck, most likely, which is very popular. Oh, Incineroar EX deck. This is also a very popular fire deck, but let's thin the deck with these Pokeballs. Let's try to get a Cosmog. Oh, there we go. Spoke it into existence. And we'll use the other one. Might as well. We got 2 Cosmog. Okay. And we're going to Professor's Research here. If we can get a Lunala, that would be wild. Okay. Okay, let's put Cosmog on the bench, and then we're going to attach energy to Giratina. And they don't Iono, they don't Red Card, they don't Mars. We have Lunala ready to go. This is insane. Turn 2, by the way. Turn 2, we're gonna have 3 energy attached to our Giratina, and we're gonna have a Lunala ready to go. Now the Incineroar does 80 damage without any damage on it, so I think we can keep the giant cape in our hand as well, see like which Pokemon needs it the most later in this game. So we're just going to attach more energy to Giratina, and by next turn we're going to be able to attack with Regigigas. Of course, if we want to be that aggro, there are situations where, you know, we might want to, ooh, they Iono us, but we might want to attach energy to Lunala and then passively attach energy to Giratina and give them an extra turn. But it looks like we got Lunala and Regigigas in hand now. Imagine we get another rare candy. That would be crazy. Bruh. Oh, they lost. They conceded. I guess they couldn't find an Incineroar or a rare candy, but there you go. Victory. That was pretty easy. Definitely not really counting that. So we're just going to go on to the next game. Oh, hey, you might be wondering, why can't you hear me right now? Why am I green screening over my own video? Well, you see, my audio didn't record for this section. And usually I would just redo this section. However, there is a very, very important battle that you're about to see. Not to spoil too much, but it's against the #1 deck in ranked as of this recording. So we're gonna do something different here. I am going to commentate over what I already recorded. So it's not gonna be live reactions, it's gonna be more analytical, and you know, it might be interesting to see everything after it's already done. So here goes another thing, I'm gonna be commentating over what I already did. So let's get into it. Okay, so to catch things up with this first battle, we have pretty much a perfect bench right now against what we assume to be a Charizard EX deck. We got Regigigas leading the charge, we put a giant cape on it, and we're about to energize Giratina EX. Now this is quite literally the perfect bench setup. You're gonna want Giratina on the bench, you're gonna want Regigigas in the front taking damage, you're gonna want a Regigigas on your bench in case of a possible Sabrina, and then of course you're gonna wanna have Cosmog / Lunala, which we're about to get thanks to our hand to just shift that energy around. So this is looking really good for us. Okay, so now they are putting a Litten on the bench, so this is another popular variation of Charizard EX. It's combining both decks of Charizard EX and Incineroar EX, which is actually seeing a lot of success in the meta right now. Our opponent's deck is a top 10 deck in the meta right now. I think it's like top 3 or 5, but either way, they made a big mistake there. They attacked the Regigigas. It did enough damage to itself where it's just going to get knocked out because we have a Lunala in hand. We're going to shift all that energy from Giratina EX to our active Regigigas. And although we're not going to do big damage, we're going to do just enough to knock out their Litten. Okay, and now they are evolving to Charizard EX. And that's going to be troublesome for us. That Charizard EX is not going to be knocked out by our Regigigas, and our Regigigas isn't going to survive a blow from Charizard EX. And I'm thinking, yeah, we attach an energy to Lunala. Okay, yeah, we attack for 80 to burn any potential lilies / any other healing items. Because the whole strategy here now is this Regigigas is going to get knocked out. And there you go. They used their Lily, so we burned one Lily. There should be a second one in this deck. So there we go. We sent Regigigas out. We have a Giratina now. But I want to play this Cosmog. We have a Giratina in hand, but we also have a Pokemon Communication, which means we have a 100% chance of pulling a Lunala EX. Now we're going to attach an energy to Lunala, and we're going to energize with Giratina EX. And if they have a Sabrina, we're going to be sending out that Cosmog, so they only get one prize for that as well. And they don't attack the Regigigas for some reason there. I don't know why they did that. They would have gotten one prize, but either way, we would have sent out our Lunala, and that kind of tells me that they don't have a Lily in hand to recuperate that 100 damage attack from Lunala. But that just gives us more time to energize our bench. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. This will also give us more time to potentially pull a rare candy so we can evolve that Cosmog into a Lunala, and that would just ultimately be a lot more useful. Okay, so now they're going to be putting Charmander on the bench and their Litten. They knock out the Regigigas. We're going to send out Lunala EX now. I'm thinking about using Iono here, but we're going to attach Poison Barb to our active Lunala, just so if they attack, they get poisoned. And we're going to attach an energy to Giratina. We're going to Iono here, get a fresh new hand. That's okay though, we did 100 damage to the Charizard, putting it in a one-shot position. They put the Charmander in the active position, putting their Charizard on the bench, and we're just going to knock out that Charmander, get rid of it. And now they're going to be evolving that Litten to a Incineroar EX. And they put our Lunala in one-shot territory. But we got the rare candy now. We're going to evolve the Cosmog to the Lunala EX. And now we're going to retreat, bring in the healthy Lunala EX. We're going to use its ability and bring in the Lunala's energy to it and attach our Energy Zone energy to it. And we put our Giratina on the bench just in case. But we do 100 damage with Lunar Blast, putting that Incineroar in one-shot territory. Things are getting kind of crazy now. They hit us with a red, but that's not going to be enough to knock out Lunala EX. But hey, we're still alive, and we're going to win the game as they concede, of course. So that's how this deck pairs up against Incineroar EX and Charizard EX. And again, that's a very popular deck in the meta. But we're going to get into one more match here where, of course, my audio cut out. Okay, so we're going second, and we're against a Steel-type deck. This only means mainly one thing: we're playing Solgaleo. And this was the battle that I was most excited about because Solgaleo has been running through the meta. And as I mentioned before, Celestial Guardians is all about Solgaleo. What about Lunala? It's the premise of this video. Either way, they got a Skarmory on the bench. They attach a tool to it. I believe that's a Rocky Helmet, right? My screen is kind of small. But either way, we have a Professor's Research and a Pokeball. We're going to want a Professor's Research first here to give us higher odds of pulling a basic Pokemon that we ultimately don't get. So we're going to have to use the Pokeball. Hopefully we can get a Giratina EX, and we don't. We put that on the bench. We do have a Pokemon Communication in hand. However, I don't really want to get rid of that Lunala because we have a rare candy in hand as well. And next turn, we're going to be able to get that evolution in. And they're going to use Teleport, switch it out for the Skarmory to put it into an active position. And Skarmory is going to start doing some chip damage. So now we got two Lunala, which means we can use the Pokemon Communication, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And we get another Cosmog. So we're going to use our rare candy, and we're going to evolve to Lunala. We're going to attach Poison Barb to the Regigigas too, because why not? We're going to poison that Skarmory, and we're going to attach energy to Lunala and call it a day. So it's looking pretty bad for us right now, and pretty good for our opponent. They're gonna Iono us too, so we lose our Cosmog and the Giant Cape, but we get a Regigigas and a heal. So I think our hand might have even gotten worse at this point. So they evolve their Cosmog to a Cosmoem. They have another Skarmory on the bench now, and they're going to attack with their Skarmory, dealing 50 damage to us. However, their Skarmory is now poisoned. And our next card that we get is a Cosmog. Another Cosmog. What can it do for a Giratina EX? Come on. We're going to attach energy to our Lunala EX, and things are even looking worse. We are in a really bad position. Now they have a Solgaleo, and they're going to switch it in with its ability, and they're going to knock out our active Regigigas. However, we still poison them. That's kind of a dub, but we're going to send in our other Regigigas just so they don't like knock out our Lunala for no reason whatsoever. And there we have it. We have a Pokeball. We finally get a Giratina EX. Now we're going to add a Giratina EX to the bench. We're going to add a Cosmog to the bench as well because there's no reason why not. In case they have a Sabrina, I can switch in the Cosmog, so that was the whole thought process behind that. And we're going to use Giratina's ability to attach another energy to, and just like that, we have 5 energy on the board. And if they attack with Solgaleo here, we can move all of Lunala's energy to our active Regigigas to knock it out. However, they retreated. They know how to do math. They know the Regigigas play. And they're going to attack with their Skarmory now, dealing 50 damage to our Regigigas, who is now in one-shot territory against their Solgaleo. And now I add energy to our active Regigigas. I use Lunala's ability, and I can attack with Regigigas now, knocking out that Skarmory. But it's a lot just for one prize. And I'm not going to lie, we're in a tough position right now. Their Solgaleo's in the active spot now. They can attach energy to it, knock out our Regigigas and all of the energy attached to it as well. And that's exactly what they're going to do. However, their Solgaleo is kind of weak now. It's at 140. They are 10 damage away from getting one-shotted from our Giratina EX. So we're going to send in the Lunala EX just because it's the beefier option out of our whole entire bench. And what we're going to do here now is use our Iono not only to give us a fresh hand, but also to disrupt their hand as well. So we got a Professor's Research and a Lunala. That is huge for us. We attach energy to our active Lunala, use its ability, and now we can attack for 100 damage. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. Their Solgaleo is sitting at 40 HP now. So there's a lot that can happen with this Professor's Research. We can get a Cyrus potentially to go after that injured Solgaleo, or we can evolve with Lunala. Either way, they switched out to their Skarmory, and they're going to use Lily on their Solgaleo, which is still in one-shot territory from our Lunala EX. They're going to attack with Skarmory, and that puts us in one-shot territory, but now we have a Giant Cape. That kind of saves us a little bit. We're going to Professor's Research here just to see what we have, and we got some extra heals and a Leaf. So now we're going to attach an energy to our Giratina EX. And what I'm noticing here too is there is no energy attached to their bench Solgaleo, so they can't come out and knock us out. So I'm going to attack with Lunala. We're going to get poisoned, but we have a heal that heals 10 damage from us and cures our poison. So that's kind of the thought process there. Now they're going to rare candy their healthy Cosmog. So now they have a fully healthy Solgaleo EX, and they're starting to build it up. Things are getting kind of intense. And they're going to end the turn there. It's back to us. We get our rare candy now, so we can have a fully healthy Lunala, and with its ability, we can get it set up as well. It's the battle of the pack arts now. This is actually insane. So we're going to Leaf here, and the thought process behind that is just to save every energy as much as possible. So now we can shift all of the energy from our benched Lunala EX while being able to attach another energy to our Giratina just in case. We're going to attach a Giant Cape to our Giratina EX as well, just in case we need to bring it out there and attack. But now we're going to attack with Lunala EX, deal 100 damage, and there's a lot that can happen right now. They can either have a Lily and fully heal either of their Solgaleo EX, or they can Sabrina. And we're going to bring out the Giratina EX to tank any potential hit. They attach a Giant Cape as well, so they're at 100 HP, and that wins us the game. absolutely crazy battle here. We're gonna shift all the energy from Lunala because why not? And we're gonna end the game here with Giratina's attack for 130 damage. So this battle was a great showing of how good Lunala can be in this deck, even though it's mainly supposed to be a supporter and not your main attacker. As 180 HP, you need to remember that it's an absolute tank and it only has 1 retreat cost. And now we're gonna get into some actual live battles where the audio didn't get cut out. Okay, we're going to try to get into one more match now. Hopefully we can get a win. That'll be cool, but this has been pretty successful, not going to lie. But we're going up against Fire again, and we got a really good hand to start things off. I'm going to lead with Regigigas, and we're going to put Giratina on the bench, of course. This might only be Charizard. That's the most common situation that I see myself running into against these Charmander decks. But either way, we're just going to be thinning the deck out now. We got another Regigigas. That's another great bench piece for us. And we're going to attach energy to Giratina EX. Okay, so they got Charmander on the bench there. They didn't attack. They don't like attacking too much because I guess they know the strategy that Regigigas can get set up, but not by this turn. I don't know why they never attack, but either way, I think I'm gonna Iono here just to give us better odds of getting Lunala and a rare candy. I mean, we might have been able to get away with that next turn, but we got Giant Cape out of it. We got Lunala, we got a Pokeball. Let's use this Pokeball. We're not gonna Giant Cape just yet because we don't know if we have a rare candy or not. We might need a Giant Cape our benched Regigigas, but I mean, we're looking good so far. Now if they attack, oh, they got the rare candy. We can still survive a Charizard attack by next turn. No rare candy. So with that being said, I'm going to attach energy to Cosmog and energy to Giratina EX. And we're just gonna have to sacrifice this Regigigas. You hate to see it, but sometimes you just need to do it. Now at this point, I'd probably bring out the Cosmog so then we can retreat to Regigigas if needed. They're gonna knock out our Regigigas here, I assume. Ooh, they got the other Charizard as well. There goes that Regigigas. Yeah, I don't want to waste energy. We're going to have the Regigigas out there anyway, so we're just gonna send out the Regigigas. If it gets knocked out, it gets knocked out. But ooh, okay, we're gonna have to put all our eggs in one basket. Let's go ahead and attach energy to Cosmog. We're going to Giant Cape the Regigigas. And we're just gonna have to hope that we get a rare candy next turn. Wow, this is coming down to the wire. It's not really going our way, but there's still a shot that we can win this. Okay, here we go. If we get a rare candy, I'm pretty sure we win.
Da Vinci?
Professor's research. Hold on. Rare candy! Okay, this is going to be insane. We got Lunala in there now. We're gonna use Lunala's ability, get all the energy from Giratina to the Regigigas, attach an energy to Giratina, and look at this, 200 damage. And they're not gonna be able to attack next turn with that Charizard EX. So even if they get a Giant Cape, we knock it out. This is crazy. This is actually insane. In the current meta, there's a lot of Charizards, and this deck definitely counters it. And it counters other decks as well. As you just saw, we beat Solgaleo with it, even with things not going our way. Usually you'll win with the Regigigas play. And there you go. Regigigas is gonna knock him out. I love this deck so much. This is awesome. 200 damage. Crazy. And just like that, we win. We got some really good ranked points in this video. We got to see Lunala, Giratina EX, and Regigigas in its full potential, really. We played against a lot of meta relevant decks. I mean, Solgaleo is the #1 deck out right now. And as you can see, we made some pretty good progress with our ranked results. I'm definitely going to try to climb to Master Ball with this deck. I'm really glad I found out a way to make Lunala EX work. I know it should be good in some way, somehow, but I never see Lunala, and I wanted to put it to the test, and it's definitely meta viable. I definitely suggest trying this deck out. There is a bit of a learning curve to it. It's a very strange play style, while, but once you get it down, it's very rewarding. Hopefully you see some success with this deck as well and rank up. The only thing that I'm a little bit hesitant about it is maybe you want 2 capes in there instead of 1. The poison barb isn't really necessary, but there are some chip decks out there, but the meta is kind of shifting towards like big damage with like Charizard and Incineroar, so you just never know. The meta is kind of heavy heading right now. I'm kind of leaning towards switching it up with 2 capes, but we'll just have to see. This is the very beginning of the ranked season, and as always, if you enjoyed this content, make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.